Hi, I'm Hollie Hancock. I am a clinical mental health counselor in the state of Utah, and I want to post a couple of short videos, actually not a couple, I'd like to post many videos about suicide alertness and what anyone can do in terms of identifying suicidal behaviors, identifying those who may be having suicidal thoughts, and then what action can be taken to keep these people safe. I recently, in the state of Utah, there has been a devastating number of suicides in the last 8 to 10 days. And as if that weren't enough insult to add to that, death by suicide is the #1 cause of teens in Utah. Sorry for the pauses, I'm having a hard time concentrating, so just FYI, these are going to be come as you are videos. I don't know how to edit, I don't know how to do it, I don't know how to do a darn thing. So I'm sitting here in my kitchen, photo booth is on, I am not going to do my hair, I'm not going to do my makeup, well some days I might, but what's important is not what I look like, it's not where I'm at, but it's the information that I am able to share with you. Earlier this week, a friend of mine, Daniel Parkinson, posted a challenge to the world, in my opinion, to ask people what it is that they're going to do to help. What are they going to do? And I say do with a capital D-O, meaning what are you going to do to get up off the couch or out of your office or just outside yourself to help spread suicide awareness, suicide alertness, and do, D-O, capital D-O, to prevent suicide. And he asked folks to say what they were going to commit to. And I had a hard time. I didn't know what I could do to say, I am going to commit to do this. And as more ideas come to my head, Daniel, I will post them and commit to more, but this is something that I know that I can commit to, and that is creating these short little videos with information that can be disseminated and hopefully used as a tool or as a resource for suicide alertness, awareness, and preparedness. So I attended a training today that was called safeTalk, and there may be many of you out there who are familiar with safeTalk. It's a program by the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention, and we do have a chapter here in Utah. I was not aware of this, but we've only had this chapter, the safeTalk chapter in Utah, for 18 months, and that sort of floored me, probably more than floored me, that we have not had an active suicide educators, we have not had active suicide educators in our state in such an organized way and with an evidence-based, the go-to gold standard for suicide prevention and awareness as the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. So I'm glad that I'm getting this training now and hope that I get more and I continue to get more, and it's my goal to do that. So Daniel, I'm committed to more suicide training. So the thing that I wanted to talk about today is well, a couple of things. Maybe not a couple of things. Maybe I'm just going to jump in here with the information because I don't want this to be long and boring and drawn out, and we're already at 4 minutes, and I want these to be between like 5 and 7 minutes. So here we go. The presenter today asked the group, the participants, if or who knew the warning signs for heart attack, and nearly everyone raised their hand. And then she asked the same question, how many of you know the warning signs for stroke? And again, many people raised their hand. And then she asked what or who knows the warning signs for suicide. And the group was largely therapists and other mental health, other folks working in mental health. And certainly we raised our hands because we have had a little bit of training or have an awareness or at least sought or have been touched by suicide in our lives. And so again, a good majority of the folks raised their hand. And so what I'd like to share with you today is some of those things that we talked about today in terms of what behaviors we can look for from our loved ones that might send up those red flags to indicate that more attention is needed here with this loved one. One thing that we talked about, which I found very interesting, is that people say that those who talk about suicide and say, I'm suicidal, or I'm going to kill myself, or I'm going to do this, and you won't see me again. Those people they want attention. And one of the things that I loved was the presenter said, they're looking for attention, so give it to them. Because in my opinion, you can't mess around with this. Even if someone is saying that, you can't mess around with someone seeking attention. Because if they're that outspoken and thinking, oh, they say this all the time, well, what if they don't say it that last time? And there you are, not knowing, or why didn't I listen? And perhaps start a cycle of self-blame. And don't do that, please. That is not helpful. And just don't self-blame. Don't think that there was something that you could have done. So I just want to talk about briefly some of the signs that you will observe or may observe from those who you care about and may be in trouble. A couple of those are they're withdrawing. They may increase their use of drugs and alcohol and engage in risky behaviors. 1/3 of all suicide, 1/3 of the folks who die by suicide were intoxicated or in an altered state when they were taken to emergency care. And that's a staggering number to me, especially in teens when their prefrontal cortexes are not fully developed, and then you add alcohol or other mind-altering substances to their bodies, and that prefrontal cortex is even less effective, and it's much easier to let other parts of the brain that aren't so helpful take over, and again, not helpful. The other things that you might want to consider, and the thing that I sort of want to leave you with, is if you notice something that you consider is not typical behavior for this person, or to put it another way, a person does something that makes you go, and if any of you are around my age, you remember the Arsenio Hall show, and that was sort of a funny thing, and I don't mean to make light of it, but it is a way to remember how to check for the behavior or check in with a person whose behavior does not seem typical. And once you observe atypical behavior from a friend or loved one, you need to talk to them about it. You need to confront them and ask them what's going on, and directly ask them, are you thinking of committing suicide? And have that discussion. I guess the take home from this is that, we might not notice the withdrawal. We might not notice the substance use or abuse. They might not be seeking attention and saying, I'm going to commit suicide. But what we need to be aware of is that there's something that's someone very close to us and we know their behavior well. If any of that changes, hello fly, we need to start asking questions and making sure that we have the opportunity to keep this person safe. We could go on about sort of the observed behaviors that we can look for in terms of someone who might be at risk for suicide, and that's certainly another discussion for another day, but I just wanted to get out there and get some information, posted as part of my commitment to do this. I'm going to continue to share at least this week until I've exhausted all of my information from the training today, because it's great. It's wonderful information, and I would absolutely encourage you to look up the safeTalk website for Utah and find out when they're going to do another presentation and go. It's well worth your time. So to close, again, I'm Hollie Hancock, counselor here in the Salt Lake City area, and would like to make a shout out to a really good friend of mine and end with hashtag I choose love. Thanks, and look forward to more videos. Please, please, please share. Have a good one.